Level 1, the favor. You're 23, broke, working a job that doesn't cover rent. Your cousin calls you on a Tuesday night. He doesn't ask how you're doing. He says, I need you to hold something for me. You don't ask what it is. That's the first mistake. He pulls up outside in a dark blue Civic, hands you a bag through the window. It's heavy, zipped, warm from sitting in the back seat. He says 2 days, that's it. You put it under your bed. You don't sleep. You don't open it, but you think about it every hour. On day 2, he picks it up, hands you $200 cash. 2 days, $200. You did nothing. And that's exactly the problem, because now he knows you'll hold it. And now you know the money is real. Level 2, the introduction. 3 weeks later, he calls again. This time, it's not just a bag. He wants you to drive. He needs someone who looks clean. No record, no heat. Someone who won't get pulled over because they look like trouble. You look like a college kid. That's your value. He introduces you to a man named Dree. Dree doesn't shake your hand. He just looks at you. Long, quiet. Then he nods. That nod means you're approved. You don't feel proud. You feel watched. The drive is simple. Highway 9, Exit 14, a warehouse district near the port. You sit in the car. You don't go inside. 30 minutes later, your cousin comes out, gets in, says, go. No questions, no music. Just headlights cutting through the dark. He hands you $500 when you drop him off. You drive home alone. Your hands are steady on the wheel, but your heart hasn't stopped since Exit 14. You tell yourself this is the last time. You've already told yourself that twice. Level 3, the system. You learn over the next 2 months that there's a system. Everything has a role. There are runners, holders, drivers, cleaners, counters. You're a driver, but Dree starts talking to you differently, asking you things. You good with numbers? You got a car, note, rent. You nod again. He smiles for the first time. You're moved up. Now you're not just driving. You're coordinating drop times. You're keeping a log in your head, never written down, of who owes what, when, and where. You start making $500 a week. You pay off your car. You send your mom money and tell her you got a promotion. She says she's proud of you. You can't look at her when she says it. The system is elegant, almost invisible. These men have been running it for 11 years without a single arrest at the top. The people who get caught are always at the bottom, and you just moved up from the bottom. You think that means you're safe. Level 4, the name. 6 months in, you have a name, not your real name. A name they call you when they talk about you without you in the room. You find out when a runner calls you by it by accident. Oh, you're Ghost, because you move quiet, because you don't talk, because nobody outside this world knows you exist. You've been careful, no posts, no flash, same apartment, same routine. But you're not the same person. You have a burner, then 2 burners. You swap SIM cards every 10 days. You've started noticing cars that park too long on your block. You've started sitting with your back to walls in restaurants. You've started thinking in exits. Every room you walk into, you count the doors. That's not something you learned. That's something that happened to you. And the money keeps coming. $2,000 this week. $3,500 the next. You open a second bank account. You read about structuring. You stay under $9,000 every deposit. You're not just a driver anymore. You're infrastructure. Level 5, the weight. A year in, you're 24 now. Dree calls you directly, not through your cousin, not through a runner. He has a problem. One of his most trusted men, a guy named Theo, got picked up 2 nights ago. Theo knows schedules, locations, names. Theo is sitting in an interrogation room right now. Dree isn't panicking, but his voice is different. Everything moves for the next 2 weeks. You handle the north side. The north side, that's not a favor, that's a territory. You're being handed responsibility for a piece of a criminal operation, while one of its key players is in custody. You say yes. You say yes because the alternative is what happens to people who say no at this level. You've seen what that looks like. The next 2 weeks are the most intense of your life. You're coordinating 6 people. You're moving 3 times a week. You're sleeping 4 hours a night. You make $11,000 in 14 days. Theo takes a plea, gets 3 years. Dree says you handled that clean, but something is different now. You're not holding bags anymore. You're holding people's lives. Level 6, the paranoia. 18 months in, you start to feel it. The feeling that something is watching you. Not someone, something. You notice it first at a gas station. A white Chevy Tahoe, tinted windows, no plates visible from your angle. It's gone by the time you leave. 2 weeks later, the same Tahoe. Different gas station, different day. You don't tell Dree. You don't tell anyone. You change your route to work. You stop going to the same grocery store. You tell your girlfriend you've been stressed, work stuff, nothing serious. She asks why you flinch when your phone rings. You tell her it's nothing. It's not nothing. You start doing your own research, reading court cases, looking at how other operations got dismantled. Every single time, someone talked, or someone got greedy, or someone got sloppy. You've been careful, you've been clean, but the Tahoe comes back. Third time, different location. You memorize the last 3 digits of the plate, 4-7R. You sit in your apartment that night, and you do something you haven't done in 18 months. You think about stopping, but stopping isn't a door you can just walk through. Not at this level, not with what you know. Level 7, the meeting. Dree calls a sit down, not at the warehouse, not at parking lot. A restaurant, nice one, north end of the city. You wear a collared shirt. You look like a young professional meeting his boss for lunch. There are 4 men at the table. You've seen 2 of them before. The other 2 are new. One of them doesn't speak. Just sits, just watches. Dree does the talking. He says the operation is expanding. New corridor, new product moving through, more volume. He says he wants you to be the one who oversees the transition. He says a number, monthly guaranteed. The number has 5 digits. Every month, you keep your face still. Inside, 2 things happen at the same time. Something wants to say yes, immediately, automatically. And something else, something deeper, older, quieter, says, this is the moment. Not the money, not the power. This is the moment that determines how this ends. Because this is the moment where you stop being useful and start being responsible. And responsible people in this world have a very specific kind of ending. You pick up your water glass, you take a slow sip, you say, let me think on it. The man who hasn't spoken looks at you for the first time and smiles. That smile is not warm. That smile means there's nothing to think about. Level 8, the backup plan. Here's what nobody tells you about being someone's backup plan. They have one for you too. You find out on a Wednesday. Your cousin, the one who handed you that first bag, calls you. First time in months. His voice is different, thin, afraid. He says they're asking about you, not the people you work with. The other people, investigators, federal. They've been building something for 2 years. A RICO case, organized crime, multi-city. And your name, not ghost, your real name is in a document. Level 3 of the organizational chart. You're not at the top, you're not at the bottom. You're exactly in the middle, which means you're the most useful person to both sides. The prosecutors want you to talk. Dree's people want to know if you will. And right now, you're sitting in your apartment, and the Tahoe is parked across the street. And your phone has 2 missed calls from a number you don't recognize. And your girlfriend is asking you from the kitchen what you want for dinner. And you realize something. You were never the backup plan. You were always the expendable one. The person you protected, the operation, the structure, the men at the top, they have their own exits. Their own lawyers, their own insulation. They built it carefully, and you were part of what they built. Not a person. Level 9, the choice. You have 72 hours. That's not a guess. The attorney your cousin connects you with, a man in a gray suit who drinks bad coffee and doesn't make eye contact, tells you directly. 72 hours before they move without you. 3 options. 1, you cooperate. You give them the schedules, the names, the locations, the $11,000 week, the sit-down at the restaurant. You get a deal. Maybe reduced charges. Maybe witness protection. Maybe you disappear into a suburb in another state and spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder with a different name. 2, you run, but where? With what? Your money is in accounts they can freeze. Your face is already in their files. Your car is already flagged. Running is just a slower version of getting caught. 3, you say nothing. You get a lawyer, you wait. And you hope that Dree's reach doesn't extend into whatever cell they put you in. None of these options look like freedom. They all look like different kinds of cages. You sit in your car in a parking garage on Thursday night. You think about the first bag, the weight of it. You think about how easy it felt. How clean. You think about your mother's voice saying she was proud of you, and you understand fully for the first time that the moment you said yes to the bag, this parking garage was already waiting for you. Not maybe, not possibly. Level 10, the consequence. Here's where the story ends. Not with a shootout, not with a chase. With paperwork, with a plea agreement on a conference table. With your lawyer's pen tapping against the edge of the paper. With your own hand, steady, calm, like you're signing a lease. Writing your name on the line. You cooperate, you give them the schedules, the names, the North Side territory, the restaurant, the man who smiled. It takes 11 months for the case to fully build. By the time it's over, 9 people are indicted. Dree gets 14 years. The man who smiled gets 22. Your cousin gets 3, suspended. You get supervised release, 5 years. No prison time, but also no peace. You move cities. You take a job no one asks questions at. You call your mother once a week, and you still can't fully look her in the eye, even through a phone screen. Your girlfriend finds out eventually. Not everything enough. She doesn't leave angry. She leaves quiet. That's worse. You wake up some mornings, and you think about the Civic pulling up in the rain, the bags through the window, the weight of it, and you think, what if I'd just said no? What if you'd said, I don't want to know what's in it? What if you'd stayed broke and honest and invisible? But here's the thing about that thought. It never finishes, because the answer isn't clean, because you don't actually know that the version of you who said no would have been okay. Maybe he would have been. Maybe he would have found another way. Or maybe he would have gotten the call again. And the next time, and the time after that, until one Tuesday night in the rain, he said yes anyway. Pause, ambient sound fades to silence. The backup plan was never about protecting someone important. It was about being replaceable enough to be used, and disposable enough to be abandoned. And the moment you made yourself useful to the wrong person, you became both.